Welcome, everybody, to the R&R CatCast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy.
Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, Bobcat Nation. Whenever you're listening to this is Brickball. Sorry for the last couple weeks off, folks, but we have quite a bit to recap. This is our pre-Boise episode, our wrap-up of our regular season. Kind of snuck up on us this year, and Foley, we're here. It's
What's up,
the
Zach?
end of the basketball season. Hey, buddy, I was just telling you before, for all our listeners, that I missed you and I haven't talked to you. It's like, man, I haven't talked to you in ages, and we've been uber busy as well as somewhat sad in certain Bobcat lands, but we're here. We got a lot to talk about. We're pretty excited. I'm actually pretty stoked. I will be in Boise. This will be my third year going to Boise, and I'm hoping for a pretty good result as I've had the last 2 years.
You know what? I'm going to help you out already. Being a guy that used to live down there, it's pronounced Boise.
Boise.
Yeah, so if you want to fit in with the locals,
It's
that hard C at the end.
The silent C.
They'll give it that Z, the Boise. There it is.
I do find it funny, and I think most people can back me up on this, is when there's a lot of growing up in Oregon, there's a lot of things named after native words and native tribes and stuff like that. So the Willamette River, hearing it as the Willamette River and things like that, just hearing those mispronunciations, it's always funny, but it's what we get for living in this part of the country. Nobody seems to care about us on the East Coast, but we care.
No. Zach, you have some history in Boise. I'm going to flip it on you. If the tournament wasn't in Southern Idaho, where would your top two spots?
Well, it wouldn't be Reno, as it was.
Did you ever go?
No, I never went, but I didn't really watch because we didn't have a basketball team worth watching at that stage.
Yeah. No.
Obviously, you're a Spokane guy. I lived there before. I like Spokane. I don't really understand the competitive edge side. If you talked about that and said, well, you can't have it in Spokane, I would love to have it in Spokane. That would be an awesome place. I'm also obviously jealous. I think Vegas would be a ton of fun. I know, my girlfriend went to Gonzaga. I know people heading down to the WCC tournament this next weekend. I think that'd be a ton of fun to go down in Vegas. But hey, I'll give you this. Boise has put quite a marketing play together with Starch Madness, and we'll lead into that. The logo is sick, and I'm all about this Starch Madness. I think it's goofy. I think it's great. I hope I get a free t-shirt down there with some fries sticking out of a basket. I'm all about the Starch Madness, man.
Is this like 2 years into the Starch Madness moniker that they have? Yeah, that's cool.
This is year 2. This is year 1 of that sweet logo that they
I'm
came
all
up
about
with.
weird. So Starch Madness, that fits. That's a lane I would go down for sure.
It feels like minor league baseball, and I kind of love it because I love when I love when minor league baseball teams lean into wackiness. It's part of the things that make it fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. So, rundown. Regular season is over, and the men are 14-17 and the 5 seed. The women, well, that's a different story. 27-3, their best regular season ever, and they are the number 1 seed. Regular season conference champions. Give it up for the women.
Woo!
They
Two
were
things
fun.
Two things I don't remember. One, you made a bold prediction going into the men's season. I think you said 3 conference losses.
I said 2 or 3.
Yeah. Where Zach was wrong.
I said the same with the women. So where Zach was right, where Zach was wrong.
And another thing I haven't looked up is, do you know if a women's team has gone undefeated in conference? Did any of those mid-90 Lady Grizz teams go undefeated? Or did the Cats tie a record or eclipse a record?
So I actually had the same thought. I have not looked that up yet, but I want to believe one of those mid-90s Grizz. That was the only thought I had, is it must have been one of those Grizz teams where it seemed like they won it every year for a decade. Um, if not, this girls team was special. They're going to go down as one of the best. They've obviously got to get it done. They're going to Boise to win a championship and to go to the NCAA tournament. They have the ability to do something very special and not get a 4 seed in the women's side of things. If they can, cruise through this tournament, you have a chance to play another team on a neutral court and not on another team's home court when it comes to the women's tournament because they play it a little differently.
Okay,
So,
so what do you think their possible ranking might be?
I I think if they didn't drop that game with Sac, I thought a 12 seed. I think a 13
Yeah.
seed is probably realistic. I think if they run the tape, if they go through, and look, if they smoke everybody again and they smoke NAU again, I think they can still get that 12 seed, but I think a 13 seed is probably logistically what I think they'll get.
And do you think conceivably, let's say they do, let's say, get upset, are they
I,
still in?
uh, that it gets hard because then the math goes to do other that's where you start considering, do other conferences have different things. So my answer there would probably be it depends. It
Okay.
depends on, I mean, don't please don't leave it up to that, girls, but that's where that math goes into. It depends on what the rest of the landscape is. If everything else pretty much goes chalk, probably still get in. If you have some other upsets, some 5 seeds, some 4 seeds get into the tournament, and some of the higher end things that wouldn't have got in otherwise, then you're probably in trouble. So goes to your point of lamenting the one bid league. You've been very vocal about that on this pod for years.
Yeah, to get in that large bid would be remarkable and
Yeah,
unprecedented. So that would be really cool. That'd be
yeah,
sweet. But yeah, let's not leave it up to chance. Go out there and win
no.
it, ladies.
The women's tournament honestly feels like you can fast forward. Watch these words not age well. It feels like you can fast forward to MSU NAU in the title game on Wednesday. It feels like those two teams have been head and shoulders above for the entire season. I think NAU just lost the 2 games to MSU all year. We've looked the women got better throughout the year. If you look at January, they were in some dogfights, and then they just looked stronger and stronger. And towards the end, they were blowing just about everybody out of the water. I'd ask you this too. I think the Sacramento loss could actually be a good thing.
Yeah, it could.
I mean,
It
that
took
could
me
be a
by
wake up call.
surprise,
Yeah.
like hugely. I came home that day. I
Yeah.
think I was no, I
You
was coming
texted
home from
us. You're
baseball.
like, "What the
Yeah,
hell? The women lost and the men won by 25?"
it's like what's going on in the world right now? Yeah, that one shocked me. Um, could recalibrate. It did suck. Like, I mean, if you
Yeah.
ask me fully, do you think that was a good thing? No, I don't think it is a
No.
good thing. I think continuing to roll people like they do, 98-66 against the Grizzlies. They had one against.
That game was so much fun to be at. Oh my goodness, the atmosphere for that game was incredible.
Yeah, tell me more about that.
The yellow out was great idea. I honestly think
Awesome
playing
uniforms.
oh,
Loved them.
yes, kick butt uniforms. The volleyball team did the same thing where they did a Gold Rush uniform. I honestly think having the Gold Rush uniforms in non-football games against the Grizzlies is a move we should embrace going forward.
Hmm.
I think if we could, track's a little different because you can't have, that's your conference meet. But if there's individual, I guess you have a dual meet. If you have an individual competition against the Grizzlies, I think we should have specialty Gold Rush jerseys for those games.
That's cool.
That'd be a ton of fun. They look really good. They
Yeah.
look just sharp. So I also have an affinity for the royal blue and that bright gold look. I think all MSU sports should go back to that, and we should make that permanent. But that's just my thought. I think that's just such a good look. If you look at what Pitt did, Pitt and us kind of have the same trajectory where they had that old school look like we did in the 80s
Yeah.
with kind of that royalish blue and the pop out yellow, goldish. And then they followed the navy and the gold, and they've gone back to their old school look, and it's a great look.
No, you're preaching to the choir, man. I've been singing that song for for many years. I think there's many of us out there who would love to see an incorporation of that. And you've seen Montana State kind of dabble in that a little bit. They'll bring it back in Gold Rush, or they'll have accents in it in different games, specifically in football. There needs to be a full uniform of that. But I think it would behoove Montana State to adopt those colors again and make that more of a rotation, a third uniform going forward.
Yep. I don't know how that goes with the current logos, especially the Bobcat head logo, because it doesn't really lead itself to that color scheme. I wouldn't think it's kind
Just
of
go with
more
the
of a
cat
navy
script.
and
You have to
gold.
go with the
Yeah,
cat script at that
just go with
point.
the cat script. But
Yeah.
I think nobody would be mad at that.
No.
So, all
Are
right.
you listening, Leon?
If you want our Venmo for uniform funds, we can put that in.
Oh man. So are
Anyway,
we gonna get Merritt Dykstra back for the tournament? I think so, right?
I
I think she's
think
gonna be
so.
back. I
I
know
haven't done I
Dylan's
haven't done
out.
my injury report yet.
Okay.
I know we lost somebody for the year.
Dylan Phillip.
Yep. So really unfortunate. She got hurt in the Grizz game. I'm pretty sure. That just sucks.
Yeah.
That just really sucks. I mean, they've been going on a magical run. You hate to see anybody on any team get hurt like that, but this team's just it feels like a team of destiny. The women have just played so well all year. They've been such a bright spot. It was something that's just been great because you can turn them on and know that they're gonna play a competitive first half and then smoke somebody in the second half. It felt like all season.
Hmm.
And back to your point about the brawl with the women's game, that game, we took a 3-pointer with 5 seconds on the clock to try to get to 100, and just it was. I think I looked up and it was something like 42 to like 50 something, and then I blinked and it was like 44-78. I was like, "Whew, how did that happen?" But it was one of the most fun sporting events I've gone to, a rivalry of just watching another team get their teeth kicked in, especially the Grizz. They have an interim head coach. They don't have a lot to play for this year, it seems like. They've got a lot of problems, but whenever you can just take your rival out back and just beat them like that, it's a good day.
It's so cool to watch the interchangeability between these players on the team because the bench is so deep. I mean, you watch like Caitlin Martin, KJ Lamardo, for those of you who are, not up on
Her
what
maiden name.
yeah. She goes out, she's 6'2", in comes Natalie Picton 5'5", and they're swapping. You're like, Natalie's coming in for Caitlin, like, and it provides a totally different energy because Caitlin is like this savvy, really tough vet, and Picton is just a ball of energy and just a disruptor and distributor. And they're playing they're defending the same person out there, but they're playing kind of different roles. But no matter who they play out there, they kind of all mesh together. And I think that's the beauty behind this women's team is they've found a way to highlight
Damon,
each other's strengths without sacrificing anything else. It's beautiful.
we didn't even mention her half court shot before was it
Yeah.
halftime? There was a
Yeah.
steal. They hit a three,
Hmm.
then they get a steal with 6 seconds to go, and she just launches just a perfect bank shot. Oh, it was great. And
Yeah.
Picton, one of the things I'll say about her is she was incredibly raw as a prospect, as a freshman, thrust into the role last year in Boise. And the women played a very ugly game against UNC in the tournament last year in the 4-5 matchup, I'm pretty sure. It was one of the ugliest basketball games I've ever watched. But watching her, and she made a lot of mistakes in that game, and Cats ended up winning. But you could see that, holy cow, there's a lot of potential here. And to see her
Yeah.
unlock that and to come off the bench and the things she does and the shots she's making, she's been lights out this year. And she's been a real spark and really fun to watch because it's like, wow, the development from freshman to sophomore that you've seen in her and what she's done is really impressive. And it's one of the things I saw. It's one of the things that makes this conference awesome is you get to see development. If guys or girls stick around in this conference, you guys see, look what Sam Lekalot was as a freshman and even as a sophomore and part of his junior year to see what he's become now. And he's way more mistake free. He's incredible. He's played really well this year, especially towards the end of the year, and he's been a leader. And to see that development in several of the players that we've had, it's really cool to see this year,
I
especially on
feel
the
like
women's
that's a
side.
hallmark of the Lady Cats. They're able to keep their players and develop them over the years, and you see these young ladies develop into savvy vets, just like Martin has, and it's just a pleasure. You just feel thankful. Like I was feeling this the other day. I was like, man, Keelan Martin, I'm gonna miss watching her next year. Like she is such a staple of this program of the Binford, tapestry. You don't get that in college sports this often anymore with the portal and just the common like 2025, 2024. It just feels less and less uh, happens less and less. So just very thankful for what the Lady Cats put together year in year out.
Yep. This year just feels like it went by so quick.
Yeah.
I feel like
Hmm.
last year's season, and maybe because football was done first week of December and we got a whole nother month of football, but it just feels like we've just blown through this, and maybe it was because we got some reprieve. Yeah, I just can't believe the season's over already.
It's not. the,
Well, the regular season's over.
the best is yet to come,
The
I
best
think,
is yet
man.
to come. And do you
Yeah.
want me to hype you up for a second? I'm going to give you a little Zach optimism. For those
Okay.
that don't know, Foley has been down in the dumps. All right, Foley, what was our record going into the Big Sky Conference last year?
Ooh, let's see. Um, I'm not going to look back. I'm just going to project. I was going to say 16 and 14.
We were 14 and 17. Foley,
14.
what
Same,
is our
same exact.
record right now?
The same exact. 14 and
Now,
17.
I'll give you this. What happened in the last two games of the regular season last year?
Well, yeah, your boy John Olmstead came on and
Came
Robert Ford, and he had some magic, and then all of a sudden we felt some synergy in the brick, and they got hot.
and we made some roster changes in those last two games, and we all kind of went, "Oh, this is a little different."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Fully, what happened in the last two games of the regular season, and what might we say about that with
Yeah.
some roster changes, to put it lightly, and some senior players elevating to a different level?
Yeah. So Brandon Walker goes to the bench. Our leading scorer, bold move. Is that discipline? Is that Logie just seeing something that we're not? Is he hurt? What's the story behind that?
Here's my take. I think Brandon Walker's scoring ability and his possession ability was not gelling with what the offense needed to do in the what I have seen in the last two games, especially, is the ball moving around the perimeter a lot faster. When Brandon Walker comes in, he has an isolation and an ISO ball ability, and sometimes that works. And in some games, it's amazing. And in other games, you see he gets triple teamed, and he sometimes has a hard time passing the ball out, and his head goes down a little bit. I don't think it's a discipline thing. I just think the possessions he's taking are not focusing on what the offense needs to do to gel and play perimeter ball. Now, albeit one thing that has helped this is we can see when this team is cold, they are cold. And that's a problem because we rely on the threes. When this team has been hot, and we've been pretty hot, we've been in the 40% for threes, this seems like a great move and it seems like we're going somewhere. So my question going into Boise is, if the three ball ain't working and we ain't making our outside perimeter shots, then was this a tactical move going forward? So that's my wait and see is, hey, if we can get the outside shot creation going and we're on and things are going good, which hopefully they are, because we got a lot of guys with Boise experience, more than I think anybody else going to Boise in the tournament. That's my concern, but also the Logie stroke of genius if it is true and happens.
Man, if this is Logie ball, I don't know if I can handle it, man. Because like if this is what's going to happen, and then I don't know.
Can I
The
ask you a
miss
question?
yeah,
If
okay,
we
go for
win
it.
in
Yeah.
Boise for a fourth straight year as a fifth seed again, what will Ryan Foley do?
Well, I will eat my fair share of crow, but then I will pray and hope that we don't get embarrassed on a national level. The best thing would be for us to be a playing game, just like we were last year, and I would assume that would be the case. This
I
all
think you're all
assumes that
but
we
locked
win
in.
this thing
Yeah.
again, and I don't. I just,
If it happens again, if
oh
you're a Big
man,
Sky coach, what do you do? If you're another Big Sky coach, like they can't. It's like the Walter White, Jesse Pinkman meme. They can't keep getting away with this.
yeah, yeah. I know there would be some Big Sky coaches who deserve to win it this year that feel really like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. One being Travis DeCure, right? Two, like I'll rarely give props to the Grizzlies, but I'm going to give props to Travis DeCure because he came in as a younger coach, had the scene, had his program humming, and then lost it. And then
And he had to go get
for
it back.
and you rarely see that for the Grizzlies to stick with him and then for him to gain that back and ride it like they have, that's impressive. Even from a Bobcat fan, that's impressive. So no, if the Cats win, I'd be shocked, man, if we make it to the championship game. Do I think we could make it to the semifinal game? I think that's our ceiling. That's Ryan Foley saying. I don't think
Gosh,
the
you sound like me
championship.
last year.
Yeah, maybe. So everything on top of that's gravy. Now, what do I think for the women? We talked about that. I'm thinking full championship, full stop.
It's
I
win or
just don't think.
bust for the women.
Yeah, I just don't think Montana State has enough scoring avenues. The men I'm talking about, like you said, three ball when it's going in, it's deadly. We do have better ball movement without Walker, but we don't have an inside presence. I don't see us slashing to the rim as much as I would like. Um, so it just feels we're beholden to outside perimeter shooting. And then, well, heck, man, if we go 40% on each of the games, and then you kind of hope to pray that we don't get just waxed inside with offensive rebounds and scoring in the paint. So there's always a couple key statistics. You used to call it the Zach statistic last year. What was that?
Zach
Offensive
stats.
rebounds? Yeah.
It was rebounds and it was 3-point ratio. Leads me into a quick note. We are pretty much dead last in the rebounding categories in the conference. I looked that up today.
Yeah.
It, yeah, I don't know. I it's hard to win basketball games when you're getting out rebounded and giving teams second opportunities on the offensive side, and you're not creating second opportunities for yourself. I mean, the ball goes in, you don't have to rebound, but when the ball's not going in, you get the damn ball. Like it's just not everybody should be falling back, and it seems like our rebounding abilities sometimes are off.
You're gonna hate me for saying this, but the men don't deserve to go to the NCAA tournament. A 14 and
Nope.
7 for a 14 and 17 regular season record should not get you into the tournament.
Well, if you caught me on a bad night throughout the season, I'd probably agree with you because there was quite a few times I left or turned off. I turned off a game, turned off the Portland State game with 10 minutes to go. I was so pissed. Um, actually, this like perfectly leads me into the next topic I have on here. I I find this like 2 week stretch a ton of fun watching other conferences and how they do conference tournaments.
Oh yeah.
Not all conference tournaments are built equal.
No, they're not.
If you look at certain tournaments, I think the Sun Belts, WCC, um, Gonzaga and St. Mary's are the 1-2 seeds in their tournament. They don't play till Monday.
They
Their
have 2
tournament
buys.
started today,
Yep.
and there's a chance the team that played today could play every day till Monday to play them, the 9-10 seed. So,
I like that. We talked about that last year
yeah,
actually on this show.
look, it definitely it gives your better teams a massive leg up.
Yep.
One thing I will say though, and again, the number 1 seed in the men's side has been upset the last 2 years. Eastern lost to Sac State and I think NAU, who was the 9 and the 10 seed. So the 1 seed has played 1 game in Boise the last 2 years. So that's something to look at. Um, I will say this
So
though, don't lose
yeah.
to the 10 seed is pretty much, I mean, if you're the 1 seed, you're expected. Don't lose to the tournament is still you get a day of rest in between. The 4-5s and the 3-6s still have to play would have to play 3 straight days like we did. So, it's designed for you to win. There is a leg up. I don't really like we give a massive leg up. That's my thing is don't lose to the 10 seed or the 9 seed. But
So we're
yeah,
playing Idaho State. Are we the 5 seed, right?
we're the 5 are we the baddies? We're the 5 seed. If you get that reference, you get that reference. We are the 5 seed. We played, as the 5 seed last year, so it's a very comfortable spot for Matt Logie, I guess.
Yeah. Gosh, if the Grizzlies and
This could
uh
all be mute too, and we just lose to Idaho State, and we're done in 1 game.
yeah, Dylan Darling goes for 40 points and
Yeah.
just torches us. So there it is.
Well, thanks for
Oh,
playing, but
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, if the Grizz or the Grizz lose, that would be huge, right? I would then be like, oh man, we have a shot. I think people are like salivating about another Cat Grizz matchup
I
in the
wouldn't.
championship.
I don't think we get the Grizz again like we did last year.
No,
You know who
maybe
I
not.
you know who I
I would.
think I would be terrified if I was the Grizz to see? I think Portland State is a really good basketball team.
Yeah, right.
And that's one of the things is I look at our side of the bracket and I think it's NAU SAC. I don't know. Help me out here. I looked at that and I'm like, UNC could lose. Like SAC's not getting anybody, but UNC versus NAU could do it. I could see it. And then I look at Idaho State and I'm like, I watched them play in the brick and I'm like, and we played them really tough in Pocatello. That was kind of one of those weird games. I think it was on our losing skid. We lost by a point or two. This is a very winnable game versus Idaho State. And even if you do play Northern Colorado, I look at that and I go, you can win that too. I could see it.
The thing that gets me just a little bit is Idaho State plays a style ball that I wish Logie would. We have better players. They played the style ball that I like. They're a little bit rough. They're a little bit tough. They rebound the ball, and I think that would just work well with the brand that Montana State is. I don't know. So, do we? I'm guessing in Coach Logie's like top things to do in this game is frustrate the hell out of Dylan Darling,
Mm-hmm. You've got
or maybe
you've got a
not,
lot of
or maybe
seniors on
it's
this
like
team.
make one person beat us, and that's going to be him. Like take care of everybody else, but make
It's been the
Darling
Weber
beat you.
State strategy.
Yeah. Oh man. Hey, tell me sidebar real quick. Why
Yeah,
was Montana on the mothership, Montana Eastern, the other night?
I think because they had a chance to clinch the title and it was a 9 p.m. game, and I'd be willing to bet they were asked because I think the athletic department can get a say if the conference gets notified and ESPN with their contract notifies, hey, would you be comfortable shifting your game to this time for 9 p.m.?
Gotcha.
I think that's what I would guess is they shifted it for viewership as well as to have that game. I mean, they clinched a share of the Big Sky Conference title. Not really sure how the tiebreaker rule worked. If I was Montana, I'd honestly be kind of pissed. I think they got kind of the shaft with the 2 seed,
Yeah,
but
I can see that.
oh well. I'd be terrified of Portland State. That's the only thing I'd say. If you were to give me good, if you were telling me what would be your best betting odds for the tournament, I would say Portland State.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
If you ask me where's the best value in the Big Sky tournament to place a bet, I would say Portland State. They are very talented. They are great down low. They've got some athletic guys. See how it translates. So that's what I would say. I think
Huh.
that I think Portland State, Montana in the semis would be war. And if you're a Bobcat fan, that would be awesome news if you can handle Northern Colorado.
Yeah.
Because I think that game would be complete and utter war.
Okay, I'm just looking at the bracket right now. Just pulled it up. Ooh. So we are not on the same side as the Grizzlies.
Nope.
So we would have, let's say, if we win, we would play. I'm assuming if we win, we would play UNC.
But like I said, the 1 seed's lost the last 2 years, so you never know.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Who is UNC's matchup going to be? It's NAU and SAC, is that correct?
No, so they're gonna play the winner against Weaver and Sack.
Weber and SAC. Okay.
So I'm
I don't know if
assuming
that Weber kid
probably
if that Weber kid gets hot.
Sack's gonna. I think Sack's gonna win that one.
Okay, I think Weber's got it, but I think SAC's
Okay,
garbage.
I think both are.
Well, yeah, that's not saying much.
But so here's the interesting thing. So the Grizzlies play the winner of NAU or Eastern, both of which those teams I think could beat the Grizzlies.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Eastern did give the Grizz kind of a. I
Yeah.
mean, they hung with them for quite a while at the end of that game. The tip to tail of this conference. Look, you can say it's not the deepest year and the talent's fallen off, but the tip to tail is not as far off as I think some people believe. And that makes this conference incredibly fun. You can agree, well, we should put our best teams forward and our best foots forward. And what does the regular season mean? I think the regular season still has a really big, important value and a lot of fun, but this is it's fun when there's parity, especially when at this level. I like having a conference where I can think the 10 seed has a chance. I like that. That's just me. I know a lot of people like they don't deserve anything. They don't deserve to even be at the tournament or they shouldn't even get a chance. But hey, when you're a one league bid, man, who cares? Give everybody somewhat of a fighting chance. Because why even go? Why even get on the plane to go if you know there's no possible chance you're going to go anywhere?
Yeah. It's and if you're a top seed, you can't play
Yeah,
scared. You can't be like we just had a 20-win season and then
yeah.
hope we don't get
Who?
you can't play tight. I'm telling you, I'm looking at this bracket right now, man. Montana State has a favorable.
Yeah,
They're definitely on the favorable side.
we're talking ourselves into it. That's the thing. We've won the last couple of years. We've seen it happen, and we're
Oh
talking ourselves into it.
gosh, I hope your dad doesn't listen to this. He's just gonna be shaking his head. He's gonna be, damn it, Foley, look at you coming around now. I see what you're doing.
If we win next, hey, I put it this way: if we win, we're gonna do an episode, and it's just gonna be you scrolling your phone through our text conversation of all the negative things you said over the last
Yeah.
2 months.
I'll own it, man. You can blast me all you want. I will own it for sure. So
I
yeah,
believe I
man.
tweeted the poop emoji in our group chat after the Portland State game.
So yeah, we
It's
win
weird.
one. We're in the semifinals against probably UNC. And UNC has not been trending like as hot as they were in January. They were mercurial through January.
You
Be
you have
coming
a
back.
you have a head coach who's played a lot of head coach tournament basketball. the D2 level, the D3 level, and then winning it last year. You
Hmm.
have an ungodly amount of seniors and fifth year players who this is their final shebang, their final go out. And you've got some guys who this will be their final time. There's some guys on their roster who I know want to put a fourth ring on their finger. They've they've gotten 3, they've tasted it. They don't want their final year to be disappointment.
Watch Tyler Patterson go out and be MVP
Shoot
of the.
60% for the tournament.
No.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
man.
fun. It's one of my favorite weeks of the year just for talking to people around the big sky. If you are going, hit me up on Twitter. The lobby bar is one of the best hangs of the year. Anybody who's anybody in the big sky, I feel like you can talk to and we'll sit down and have a beer with you. The lobby bar is fantastic there. That's one of the cool things about that venue is it's attached to a hotel and in between sessions everybody goes to the lobby bar. It's a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of people, you get to have good conversations, you get to catch up with a lot of good people. I've met some awesome people, made some awesome connections through Boise over the last couple years. Yeah, it's fun. Win or lose, it's a great event. It's a good venue for this thing. I'm just excited to see what we can do. I'm excited for the women. That's my consolation if the men crap the bed. I think the women have it all laid out in front. I honestly can't imagine the women not winning this thing. Really can't. So that's it, folks. That's your 2024-2025 Big Sky regular season.
Yeah. Did you want to talk a little bit about
Yep.
opting into the house settlement?
Yep. So that was the last thing I was going to do as our wrap up is news came out officially. I think we've known for a while. Our athletic department has been pretty vocal for a while about it. Leon Costello put out a memo to social media, and then most people who are subscribed to Bobcat stuff. MSU will be opting into the house settlement. And that is pretty big info because there's a lot of schools around us that we know who are not opting in. To tell you all the bells and whistles of what it means, I can't do that. You can go read. There's a billion podcasts or YouTube videos you can watch about what the house settlement is. Pretty much what I think and what I understand it means is it sets some guidelines for hopefully the stabilization of college sports going forward and revenue sharing.
Yeah, so now the collective, the Bobcat Collective, who is our sponsor, and Montana State can be housed underneath the same roof and work together, which makes it really nice, and it allows us to give as many scholarships as we want to within roster limits, and that is different. We were for football, I think we were capped at 85, and now we can have
Yeah. I think
um
105.
yeah 105
Yep.
scholarships.
And
So
that also
it's
lowers the FBS level from 120 to 105,
mhm,
I
mhm.
believe.
Yeah, and we'll probably talk about that, in the spring
Yep.
when football starts peaking
It's
up
coming
again.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a really good piece. I think it was a month or two old. We've talked about it just off air. Coulter had Andrew Schmidt on his show, who's a lawyer, former Grizz player, who had a pretty good breakdown of what it means, but also the kind of pitfalls and the legality of it going forward and what yet to come. I know we've had some Cooley questions. I'm not smart enough. I don't think even the NCAA is smart enough to understand a lot of this stuff at the moment. Sports are changing really rapidly. You have conference stuff going like crazy. Another thing I did want to touch on in my notes right after the house is, and I'll mention it real quick, but the WAC conference has completely basically crumbled. And a former Big Sky member, look who's crawling back. But we'll see. Southern Utah and Utah Tech allegedly are applying for Big Sky Conference membership. Um, I think I'm a thanks but no thanks on that. So we'll see. Sacks trying to claw their way out of the conference. UC Davis joined every sport but football in the Mountain West, so I would guess writings on the wall that their time in the Big Sky in the next 5 to 10 years is probably up. It's weird. It's a weird time to be a college sports fan. The Pac-12 still needs one more full member. The news on that is they put out the San Diego State athletic director said they'll have a media deal within the next 60 days. And after that, over the summer, they will look to add 1 to 3 full-time members once they have their media deal in place. I'm sure that will have implications for the Montana schools. I don't know how, but I'm sure it will. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. It's a wild time. Essentially, you're going to see the NCAA get sued over and over again for antitrust law. And until maybe the NCAA forms or allows players to unionize and then comes to agreements on how this all works, because people are going to be like, eventually be like, well, I can play as long as I want to. I can stay in college as long as I want to, because you are NCAA is not allowing me to make money off my name, image and likeness. And so you're just going to go down this path where you're like, okay, so we're just going to have professional college players this whole time. So it's going to be weird, but it's going to have to change. The writing's on the wall. I think unionization for uh, NCAA players is coming. I still think Montana State is going to be probably not in the Big Sky forever, or if the Big Sky changes to a different, at least football conference. Uh, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but yes, Zach, you laid it all out. We've been talking about it for years. I think more is more. It's just gonna get used to the change because it's coming.
Yep. I'll ask you this too, and this is something I've pondered for a while, is one of the best parts of March Madness is the Cinderellas.
Hmm.
But rarely do the Cinderellas win the dance. And as we've seen in the Big Sky, was it basically 20 years a Big Sky team hasn't won a game in the tournament?
Yeah, we suck when it comes to playing and like winning
Yeah.
games in the. I think we're like, is it? Isn't it something like the Big Sky is like the
I think
only
we're
conference?
last.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we're the last ones, but also we haven't played in the play-in too often, and play-in doesn't really count, but oh well.
it
Do
does
you
for revenue
Yeah,
sharing. It does.
well, apparently. Would you rather have this going forward of this 64 team, or would you rather have a mid-major national championship?
Oh man, I would rather have a mid major. That of
I
course.
think I think I'm of that opinion, and I used to not be. I used to like the Cinderella thing. I like the Loyola, what was it? Loyola Chicago and George Mason and Florida Gulf Coast and St. Peter's. I used to think, I mean, the stories are cool and the storylines come out of it, but I like I like playing for national championships. And that's what I think football's taught me over the last 4 years is I like playing for that playoff title, having that. Because in basketball it just seems like, well, after the Big Sky Conference, that's it. Like the highest peak is to win the Big Sky right now in basketball.
I haven't heard anybody mention that. Is that a talking point right now?
No, it just a thought.
Just a thought.
Just a thought. The only thing I've heard is them thinking about expanding the tournament from 68 to like 70 or 90 teams, which again is stupid because that doesn't mean any more mid majors get in. That just means the seventh or eighth team in the power conferences get a chance,
Yeah, well,
who went
I
five
don't
and
think
12
it's
in their conference.
I doubt
So
anything's going to change with this. I mean, this is the cash cow for the NCAA
yeah,
tournament, so or for the NCAA body. This is how they pay their bills. So,
I like
um,
I
yeah,
like being a have, not a have not, especially when it
yeah.
comes to my sports teams, and especially I like being a have in football, and that's one of the things I've really enjoyed. I like going on those playoff runs. Like, I don't know if you could do something where a March Madness thing happens and it's a one game, and you have a team come to your building for a playoff game or something like that. Like that seems fun.
Yeah.
Instead of getting waxed by Texas Tech by 40 points in a first round game as a sacrificial lamb. That wasn't fun. Oh, look, we made
No.
it. Our first time since 19, and it's over. How's that
Texas
first year
Tech
at
was on
Washington,
us like,
Danny?
golly, man. Their defense against us was smothering,
Oh,
smothering.
it
Hey,
was awful.
I mean, your thought on this is akin to what we talk about in football. Like,
Yeah.
Montana State. We want someday Montana State to be in a Group of 5 playoff. That would be the ultimate. Like, I do like this
I think we
FCS
all agree.
playoff.
I think we all agree on that. Like, even as somebody who'd like to stay in the Big Sky, I understand. I want to play the App States again and the JMUs again and
Yeah,
those teams. And I think
exactly.
there's a
Right.
lot of teams in those power levels we could compete with.
Hmm.
However, I have no interest in playing in a crappy bowl game. That's the only thing keeping me in
Okay.
FCS right
No, we've heard you on that.
now.
But like yeah, we want that because like
Yeah.
newsflash, guess what? Who's going to be in the national championship next year? It's probably going to be North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Montana State, which would be awesome.
If the Grizz can figure out their transfers.
Maybe, so you got maybe 5 teams that have the institutional support, the history, all the things going for it to
And now
get
the
there.
collective power, which is a
Yeah.
big part of it.
So I'm just it's like, why wait through all the season just to get to that point? It almost feels silly now because there is no parity. The parity is shrinking, and I want more parity.
Yeah.
Maybe we're in a playoff against Ohio University. We're Bobcats versus Bobcats. What happens then? I just think that's more intriguing. The storylines are more fun. I mean, we can all talk like, when it gets to the FCS playoffs, you're like, oh, maybe, SEMO has a chance. No, they don't. Like,
No.
they don't. They really don't. Okay. Quit kidding yourself. So it's just, I don't know. It's Montana State. I love that we said full stop with both football and basketball. Like to be in a position where we have the halves. I think Leon Costello, the athletic department, the school's doing a good job at positioning ourselves to always be in that spot. So as an alumni, as a proud Bobcat, I'm happy for that, to be linked or yoked to this institution.
Yep. The care factor is there, and there's a lot of places where that is not.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to listen to the Tubs at the Clubs guys, you can hear how their athletic department is currently doing in Idaho.
Sorry, Brian.
Oh. Is Dallas a Terry Gullick fan?
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, thanks for being with us this year. Was an interesting one. Not one I saw coming for the men's side. If you ask me this question, are we more talented this year going into Boise on the men's side than last year's team? The answer is 100% yes. We are a more talented basketball team than last year. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to win, but that should make you feel like this is a better team than last year's team. You're giving me the side eye.
I mean, we don't have Robert Ford on the team, so that's kind of a big one.
Hey, do you think the basketball he threw up there in the rafters is still there?
Oh, yeah, man.
I'm gonna go look for
yeah,
it.
It never came down, did it?
It never came down. He threw it into the scoreboard.
He was like,
where'd it go?
Ah, man.
All right, buddy.
All right. Well, go Cats, right, man? Give them hell. Let's go.
Cats.
Jeez Louise.
We'll either have a wrap-up episode next week or a March Madness episode for one or two of our teams or none of our teams, and we'll just be sad Bobcat fans.
So what you're saying is we're going to have an episode next week. All right. There you go.
Hopefully. Hold my word to that. We don't go on spring break just yet.
Well, to you, Zach, thank you for taking the charge on this again. And then don't have too many Jeremiah Johnson beers in Boise. Don't lose too many bets to your old man and make him pay for everything is what I would tell you.
I think that's a good plan. Big fan of the Jeremiah Johnson there. That's Look, it's a good beer. I enjoy the beer. I think a lot of people there enjoy it. The official sponsor of the Big Sky Conference.
Yeah,
Once
I'm
a
not gonna
proud
say too
sponsor of
much
this.
about Jeremiah Johnson right now.
Do good.
Do better.
Do better. All right, buddy. Yeah, thanks for being back. Apologies we didn't have an episode for a couple weeks. We were both incredibly busy, and yeah, just a fun year being a Bobcat again.
It's always good being Bobcat, man.
I wish we really had a spring sport. I know the rodeo's going on. I wish we had a baseball team or something like that.
Yeah, that would be
I'm
sweet.
sure we'll have some off season pods when spring football gets going, but also I'm sure we'll have some trash talk when it comes to baseball and some other stuff.
Love it.
Got some
Baseball
opinions.
season.
It's almost baseball season. All right, man. Let's get out of here. Go
Go,
Cats.
go Cats.